I have been asked to testify about the broad demographics of the population of young unauthorized immigrants who were brought here as children and have since established deep roots in this country. Since a more generic analysis of this population does not exist, I will rely in my testimony on a detailed analysis I co-authored in 2010 of the then DREAM Act population, which looked at the size and key socio-demographic characteristics of unauthorized immigrants who had entered the U.S. before age 16 and were continuously present in the U.S. for at least 5 years. Our analysis found that approximately 2.1 million children and youth were potentially either immediately eligible for conditional legal status or could become eligible in the future. Our study divided the age and date of arrival eligible populations into 4 subgroups based on their age and level of education, and we estimated each group's likelihood of meeting the requirements to obtain legal permanent residence, which in that case included completion of a college degree or at least 2 years of post-secondary education or military service. Very quickly, the 4 subgroups broke out as follows. The largest was school-age children who would become eligible in the future if they graduated from high school or earned a GED and completed post-secondary education or military service requirements. 43% of potential beneficiaries were in this category, or 934,000 children under age 18. The next largest group, at 28%, was those who had already earned a high school diploma or GED, but would need to pursue college or military service in order to earn a green card. Next, about 23%, or nearly 500,000 youth, were those over age 18 who lacked a high school diploma. They could potentially become eligible in the future if they completed a high school diploma or GED and subsequently completed post-secondary education or military service. And finally, we estimated that about 5%, or 114,000 of the 2.1 million, had already obtained at least an associate's degree and thus would be immediately eligible for a green card. You will see in my written testimony that we looked further at key socio-demographic characteristics of the population and challenges many of these young people would face in completing college or being accepted into the military. These included affording college tuition and fees, needing to work to support themselves or their families, juggling parenting responsibilities, and closing gaps in academic English proficiency. Overall, we estimated that only 38% of the 2.1 million who were potentially eligible based on their age, date of arrival, and duration of residency would be able to meet the educational attainment or military service requirements in the legislation proposed at that time. Since the cost of higher education and access to financial aid are such critical factors affecting college completion for low-income youth, based on historical trends, we found that college affordability was likely to be the most significant factor that would prevent young immigrants from completing a post-secondary education requirement. Our profile of the potentially eligible population is consistent with national research demonstrating that young immigrants are more likely to be non-traditional college students, meaning that they often enroll in post-secondary education at older ages, attend college part-time, work while going to school, and juggle family responsibilities along with their coursework. All of these factors have been associated with lower rates of college enrollment and completion. Therefore, financial, social, and academic support stands to play a critical role in the success of this population if their pathway to permanent residence and citizenship requires successfully making one's way through post-secondary education or military service. I would like to point out before closing that more recently the Congressional Budget Office estimated that approximately 1.5 million unauthorized immigrants would meet the age at arrival criteria under a version of DREAM included in recent Senate immigration legislation. CBO estimated that approximately 24% of these, 360,000, would be able to achieve permanent residence or naturalize by 2023. In conclusion, Mr. Chairman, while the MPI and CBO estimates are based on different parameters, it does seem clear that approximately 1.5 million to 2 million youth meet the residency and age at arrival requirements contemplated in recent legislative proposals, but far fewer would gain permanent residence and eventually citizenship under these proposals, approximately 825,000 individuals in our analysis and 360,000 in the CBO's assessment of S744. In light of the reality that the pathway is a narrow one, the socio-demographic characteristics of unauthorized immigrants brought here as children provide important considerations for policymakers seeking to allow them to successfully achieve permanent legal status in the United States and become fully contributing members of our society.